it's great to see you. If you are anything like me, you are way behind on your Christmas crafting, and so you still need to make some cards. So today I actually got this gorgeous card from a close family friend of mine, a very special lady to me, and she handmade this, and I mean, how beautiful is this card? So straight away I thought, perfect design for my Christmas cards this year, let's give it a go. So I did send her a quick text and ask if it was okay to share this design, and she said that she actually followed a tutorial by 𝓲𝓸𝓬𝓲, I believe she said. I will find the link and leave it down below for you. So there is a tutorial for this card, but I have just sort of guessed working on the card that I have in front of me, just measuring that and working out some measurements. So I did briefly have on the screen there the measurements that you will need. I will type them up and put them on the screen for you properly now. And I worked out that I could make this using an A4 piece of paper, which was just perfect for me. It did mean I had to change some of the measurements a little bit. So, for example, this piece was supposed to be 3x3 and 3x6. My piece was, I think, like 2 7/8 or something. So I just worked with that instead. But if you were going to follow the tutorial properly, I'm sure she has all of the measurements on the tutorial for you, or I will leave the ones that I've used in the description or on the screen. So I've gone ahead and cut all of my pieces, and then I'm just scoring this at 4, then at, I think it's 5 3/4, 7.5 and 9 1/4. I think, please do check that before you score them. I will put them on the screen for you. And then you're just concertina folding these, so in, out, and that gives you this really fun card shape. I haven't seen a card like this before. I thought it was so fun and so cool, and actually really simple to put together. So effective. So now that I have all of my pieces here, I'm going to go ahead and cut my pretty papers. So those are the measurements you'll need for those. I'm using a bunch of Rosy Studio papers. So these ones are from the Very Merry collection. I think that's their Christmas one last year. And then I do go ahead and use some from Oh Joyful Day, which is this year's Christmas release. So I'm cutting out my bigger piece here. You definitely could cut one of these, or two of these, sorry, and have one on the front and one on the back. But you don't really see the back, so I didn't bother. And then 4 of these strip pieces. If you're working with a directional pattern, you want to make sure that it was the right way up at this point. Also, if you want it, like you had a pattern that needed to stay in the correct order, you might want to cut these pieces and sort of make a note of which one goes where. For those are my 4, I just use this easy polka dot pattern, so I didn't need to worry about any of that. Using the Very Merry 6x6 paper pad, I decided to go slightly different. So instead of adding pretty pattern paper on all 3 of the squares, I just add it on 2. That way I can keep the middle one to add my note. I know Danny added some gorgeous pattern papers, and then she added some plain as well so that you could write your note, but I'm far too lazy to be adding extra papers. So I worked out that I've got the 2 there. I thought I was going to cut another piece, and I thought, no, I'm going to go for the one on the square there, which will go inside the card, and then the one on the outside there, which will be where our main little pretty feature is. I've been using this tape runner from All Things Sticky. I'm not 100% sure on it yet. It is a lot easier than doing the double-sided tape, but it does sort of get caught on itself sometimes, so I'm still testing that out to see if it's something that I'd keep in my craft room as a staple. But I mean, for this card, it was pretty perfect. Took literally seconds to roll that adhesive on and stick these bits down. So adding all of our pretty paper pieces. I did actually change my blade on my cutting board after this because the edges were not smooth and crisp. I think it's because my blade was old, because it seems fine now. Adding on this little square piece or rectangle, which will be a square, you need to line up the centre crease on the rectangle with the second crease in. So your 4 strip pieces, you want to find the middle crease, so in between 2 and 2, and line that up with the center crease on your rectangle. I'm sure I can show that way better than I can explain it, but it is really simple once you get the hang of it. And make sure to add adhesive only on the very edges. You don't want it to overlap into the other sections and stop the card from folding properly. Then you want to make sure that your smaller square is covered when you fold the card closed. The easiest way I found to do this was just to hold the square on the back of the place it would be when it's closed. Another one that's much easier to show you than to explain. And then when you fold the card closed, you can see the spot where your little square needs to live. You can see my little indecisive tappy hands there. I decided to add that pretty paper onto the pink, and then we'll go ahead and stick it onto the card. You'll have to let me know if you make handmade cards. I know a lot of people make incredible designs and will have done them all on like the 1st of December and have it all out of the way. But also, please tell me I am not the only person who is last minute making cards. I see so many beautiful ones I want to give a go and I just never find the time. So it was nice to sit down this evening and just make some pretty little cards for some family and friends. More of this pretty paper. So those are the 2 spots that I'm going to have that. And then you can see the spot I've left blank for my message. I just love how this one opens. It looks so fun. So that's where the message will go. Then I'm looking for pretty things to put on here. I am hooked on these little star shaker embellishments I've been making. So the little reindeer there is from 𝓲𝓸𝓬𝓏. I have decided that I love colouring in those little critters. I don't know why. I've never liked colouring before, but I just really enjoy colouring those in. I did consider using the back there on the other star, but it just didn't look quite right. I like those when they're in like a shaker window, like a see-through window. It looks really cool if you've got like a traditional opening card to have the front of the reindeer, and then when you open it you can see the other side sort of hanging off. That looks really cool. I think I do have a tutorial for those kind of cards, or a reel maybe on Instagram. So I will leave a link for that one for you. I did have one of these stars that was ready made. It had a polar bear. But the fact that I had the reindeer names in the background on that paper, it needed to be a reindeer. So I'm just making a really quick version of this little star shaker. These are so quick and simple to put together. This die is from Temu. And it's got the shaker piece and the background. And it literally takes seconds with the Gemini Mini to just run it through. You have all of the shapes you need and you just layer them together. The acetate I'm using is from DRK Crafts. That's where I get all of my acetate now. And I think I got the stamps from 𝓷𝓸𝓬𝓼. And then I got the coordinating dies as well. Just layering up my little shaker. Adding on the little reindeer. Popping that onto our acetate. And then I'll use, as always, my favourite foam strips from Amazon to turn this into a little 3D shaker star. I know that Rosie Studio currently has a 20% code running, so I will leave that on the screen and in the description for you. You can treat yourself to some Christmas goodies before they all fly off the shelves in the new year. Getting rid of a little extra bit of card here. Making sure that's all stuck down. And then it's time to add that foam tape. I will find a link for this if you're interested. Do leave me a comment and I can find you a direct link to it. It is so quick and easy to do shakers with this tape. So added that on. Then I'm using some of my Buttons Galore and More sparklets. I love these. They are so pretty and sparkly. And then I do go ahead and add some of the Rosie Studio sprinkles as well. The very merry ones. I think they complement each other nicely. Add on the back of that star and we have our little embellishment all ready to go on the front of our card. There he is, all sparkly and ready. And then that inner piece from the star I have on the inside. I don't have any other plans except that at the moment. So I've grabbed these little enamel shapes. These, I think they're also the Very Merry collection from Rosie Studio. I'm adding a few of those on the front there. I do add a few of these on the inside as well, I believe. Just messing around with the placement of those. There we go. Then I'm looking for something on the inside. I want like a sentiment. And I look through all of the different stickers and chipboard and that sort of thing. And in the end, I settle on one of the words from the word stickers. The word stickers are from Oh Joyful Day, which is this year's collection from Rosie Studio. And I go for the word jolly, that pink one there. It just fits nicely. It was a nice length for that spot. I did like warm wishes, but it didn't fit properly, so we end up with jolly. And I think it works really nicely with all the pinks and reds in this card. Poking out all of those little extra bits that didn't come off on the sticker sheet. There we go. And I do go back, I'm not sure if I show you in the video, but I do go back and add some adhesive on the back of that. Just some of the 𝓬𝓼𝓬𝓪 wet adhesive to make sure it's definitely not going to move on that glitter star. That glitter card is also from DLK Crafts, in case you're wondering. And then I take a couple of the puffy stickers from there and add it onto the front. So a little star and a little snowflake. Mess about with the placement of that one, but we go for where I put it in the first place, which is so often the case. And that is our first little card all complete. For this one, I went for a little reindeer, very pink and red. You can see how it will stand on the side when your recipient opens it up. And you would just add your message on the little plain pink piece. Turns out I wanted to add some more sparkly things, so I do add some more of those little enamel shapes. And then because I started making one with the little polar bear shaker, I couldn't just leave him out. So I did go ahead and make another card in a green colour palette. Again, Rosie Studio, and I just used the little polar bear star shaker on the front. Very, very similar in design to this one. Oh, and you've just seen me there add a little clear word sticker on there as well. A little bit of something extra. I'm often adding bits after I'm finished. So there we go, now we're finished with our pink and red design. There's our little reindeer. And then I will show you quickly the green one that I created. Here it is, with the little polar bear. This one, again, Rosie Studio. Exact same design or sketch, I guess you'd call it. And I've just popped all different bits on there in the green and the peach. Used some pretty bits from the ephemera pack, the Oh Joyful Day, and that little music sheet as well. Hope you have enjoyed hanging out and crafting with me. And this gives you some inspiration to make some last minute cards. Have a lovely Christmas. Bye!